We have different types of triangles. So the three main types are a right angle triangle, and this is where there's a right angle as one of the three different angles in the triangle. An isosceles triangle, and that's where two of the sides are the same length. If you see these lines, that's where it's showing you that the length is the same, and therefore two of the angles are also the same as each other. And then the third one will be different. If you're trying to find one of the angles, then you can find any of them if you have just one. So for example, this angle here would just be 180 minus the other two red angles, these two here. If I had the top one, then I could find the two red ones by doing 180 minus the top one, and then I could divide that by 2. A scalene triangle is a triangle where none of the sides and none of the angles are the same. And the last type is an equilateral triangle, and an equilateral triangle is where all three lengths are exactly the same. So all three lengths are the same, and therefore you would have all three with the line on, and all three angles would be the same, and they would all be 60 degrees. And that is what we call an equilateral triangle. So they are the different types of triangle that we can have. So the basic angle rules: any angles that form a full circle, so where you could draw the full circle around them, they add up to 360 degrees. And any angles on a straight line, so that's where you can draw that semicircle shape, they add up to 180 degrees. If we have two straight lines and they're crossing, then the opposite angles are going to be the same. So for example, the two red angles would be the same, and the two green angles would be the same. And then the last two rules are that the angles in a triangle, which is what we were just talking about, they add up to 180 degrees. And the angles in a quadrilateral or four-sided shape, they add up to 360 degrees. So if we were given this type of a question, we know we're using those basic angle rules to help us. So because we see these lines here, we know that it's an isosceles triangle, and that means that this angle is also 28 degrees. So I can now find what this angle here is. I know that that is going to be 180 minus the 28, add the 28. So that's 180 minus 56. So that would be 124 degrees. And then because of the opposite angles, we know that these are the same, and therefore A is also 124 degrees. This question is a little bit trickier. So we're trying to find X, Y, and Z, these ones here. So Z we can find quite easily. We can see that these are all on a half circle, they're all on a straight line. And therefore, 180 minus the 90, where we can see that square, minus 36 is going to give me my angle Z, and that gives me 54 degrees. So that one was 180 minus 90 minus 36. For Y and X, I'm going to need some more information. So I can see here we've got a vertically opposite angle, and again here, so this one must be 80 and this one must be 42. I can also find out what this angle here is. We can see that these add up to 180. They're a semicircle. So 180 minus the 80 gives me 100 degrees. And I could do similar on this side. So these would add up to a semicircle, and therefore 180 minus 42 is going to give me this angle here, which is 138 degrees. Now that I've done that, for the top one, for Y, I know that the shape there is a triangle. I have a triangle here. I know the two bottom angles, so I can now find out what the top angle is. So 180 minus the 100 minus the 42 is going to give me 38, which is my angle for Y. And then the bottom one, I have 360 because it's a four-sided shape. And if I do 360 minus 50 minus 80 minus 138, then I can find that my final answer is 92. And that's from this four-sided shape, knowing that they add up to 360.